Cool beans. Well, I will say, right, you talk about AOA 2 and AOA in general, you guys. If you haven't gotten the opportunity, if you're an agency owner, right, if you're at that 115 level, 120 level, whatever it may be, right, number one, get to AOA. But if you can get to AOA 2, I highly, 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 highly recommend it. I got the opportunity to be able to go back in April, and it changed me. It changed my business. Like, it helped in so many different ways. Just the things I was able to learn is everything that you just said, Jim, right? You get the opportunity to be in a room with people who are going through the same struggles, who understand it, who get it, and you're being led and taught by people who have gone through what you're going through, right? And you're not, and you're learning from a lot of different experiences, and you actually get to talk, right? You get to talk and you get to give feedback and all the things. So, super cool. But today, you guys, what I'm going to talk about, or my topic for today anyway, is grit. It's grit and it's how to get gritty, right? So first thing I want to ask you guys, actually I just messed that all the way up. I was gonna ask you guys what was the number one characteristic you guys feel like the most common people in the company have when it comes to being successful. And for me, when I was thinking about it, it was grit, right? When that's really funny. I just thought that was funny in my mind. I'm like, I give the topic away and I was supposed to ask you guys the question. So, here we are. We're rocking and rolling. But with that, as I took a step back, you guys, this is a word that I've been sitting on here recently. Why I haven't been sitting on it actually thinking about it. The reason is being because I'm on a 90-day blitz right now, right? Me and some agents in my agency, not everybody, but some agents in my agency, we're all on a 90-day blitz at the moment. And I've had to step into a new level of grit, right? And a new level of commitment and a new level of perseverance that, just to be completely honest, I haven't stepped into in a while, right? It's really easy in this business to get really, really comfortable, especially when you're making I guess a good income is perspective, right? But for me, for somebody who came into this business with $200 to his name, the most I ever made in this business before was 30, well, before in life was $30,000 when I was a mailman. So to be able to step into this business where now, and real quick, if you guys are not doing this, I highly recommend you to do this. I recommend you to go out there and track your weekly deposits. Track your deposits every single day. Track your deposits every single week, right? Identify where are you at in your business, right? And I'm gonna talk to you and I'm gonna like, hey, this is what you can get right from being gritty. And I was gritty in the beginning, right? Because I was in survival mode. And a lot of times when we start this business, we're in survival mode. And it's like, hey, I have to figure this out. And I'm willing to do the hard things for long enough to get out of the position that I'm in, right? But what is grit? Right? Grit is passion, you guys. Grit is perseverance, right? To be able to stick things out for very long periods of time, for you to be able to go out there and obtain your long-term goals that you set, right? It's not just sticking out the today, right? The normal day in and day out of the business or just life in general. It's not just for the week, right? It's not just for the month, but it's for years. When I look at the founders of this company when they first started and got going back in 2009, the level of grit they had to push through and build this thing from the ground up, right? They're in the same position that all of us were in. They're trying to build a company with this massive vision, but they're still going out there in the day to day and running appointments and doing recruiting and posting ads and doing interviews and dialing leads. In order for you to be successful, you have to have grit. Honestly, unless somebody can prove me wrong here, I don't know if there's anybody that has made it without it, right? When I look at Christina's journey right now with her, I'm not even gonna say 75 hard anymore because it's just a lifestyle at this point for her, right? The level of grit that she has to do, like she has to embody, right, to be able to show up day in and day out and do that is crazy. Well, I'm not gonna say it's crazy because she's doing it, but I am gonna say it's crazy because I'm not doing it. So Christina inspires me, right? But I want you to take a second real quick. I want everybody to grab a pen and paper because oftentimes we forget, right, how gritty that we can actually be. And I want you to write down a time in your life that you had to get gritty, where you had to embody grit for a long period of time, where you had to make a choice to be able to live in that, and that was your identity for some time. I want you to take a second and write that down. Rich, I love it, right? You said right now. Right now could be the moment. The second question I want you to be able to ask yourself is what fueled that? What was fueling that grit? Because what I learned as I've been thinking about this here recently, you guys, what I learned is right. Again, grit is not is passion, but it's also fueled by a desire, right? It's fueled by a desire to be able to get more than what you have been getting, to want more than what you've been wanting, to become more than who you are currently in the moment, and to stop settling for anything less than what you know your potential to be. That is what fuels it, right? But what it's going to test, and I want to share a little story, right, about myself, right, on something that I went through that right had to that tested my grit. It tested the faith in the goal that I said I had or the work I was willing to put in for it. So after my lung surgery, actually, right, I had lung surgery my freshman year of school, and I had to sit out that year. I couldn't play basketball, so I ended up sitting out that year. And then I finally got the opportunity to be able to start getting back in. I couldn't play basketball for a few months because they were afraid if I went out there and started working out, they were afraid of my lungs collapsing just because I had a hole in my lung, right? So I had to wait. I had to wait some time. And then when I finally, during that time when I was waiting, you guys, I was itching, right, to be able to get back on the basketball court. I was itching to be able to go out there and just work out and do what I love. When I finally got the opportunity to do it, I knew school was coming back up in the fall, and I got an opportunity. I was at one school, but I got a new opportunity to go play at a school in Ohio. And during that time, you guys, I was showing up every single day, right? I was working out at 5 a.m. I was going to the beach. I was doing sand workouts. I was making sure I was in the gym. I was lifting weights, every single thing, right? I was pretty much all I did like that year as I was going back to school in the fall of what is this, fall of 2017 was I pretty much just ate, slept, and breathed basketball, right? And working out. That's all I did, right? That was all my passion was. It's legit all I cared about at the end of the day. All right. Now I get this opportunity to go play at school, right? And life is going to happen to us, you guys. There's nothing we can do about that. But I get this opportunity to go play at a school in Ohio. And during this, right, I need my paperwork filled out. I'm only like 18 at the time, right? I'm like, yeah, I think I was 18. Yeah, I was 18. Yeah, I was 18, right? 18. And one of the things I needed was my mom's signature. I needed my mom's signature on things. I needed my mom's signature for things like FAFSA, for the scholarships and all that stuff. And guess who wouldn't give me their signature because they didn't want me to leave the state of New York? My mom. She was like, hey, you're not going to Ohio. That's too far away, right? I can't monitor you from Ohio, right? Going to Ohio, yes, I know you want to play basketball, but you better choose a school in New York to play basketball because you're not going a couple states over to be able to go play. I don't care what type of opportunity you have. And you guys, all summer long, I am fighting. I am like trying, I'm pleading, I am begging, I'm doing extra chores. Like I'm doing it all, right? To be able to try to like, hey, I really need like this is my dream, this is my goal, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I'm willing to fight for. I've been working so hard. I started playing basketball when I was like 12 years old. And I'm like, please, right, this is the opportunity I've been looking for. She wouldn't do it. Time is ticking down. Time is ticking down, you guys. It gets to what, August, right? I couldn't go during the summertime to be able to work out and all those things. So we get to August, the Friday before classes actually start. Classes start that next Monday, Tuesday. The Friday before, right? I have my siblings, they're helping me out, right? I have like my different coaches back home in New York trying to help me out. And she finally says, hey, I'll sign it. I'll sign the papers. I'll give you my social security number so we can get everything through. The Friday before. Now, what happens is, as soon as I get it, I had been out of school for a year because I stopped after I got my lung surgery. I decided to just stop going because I was in and out of the doctors all the time. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to sit out. I had to take placement tests because I had to figure out what classes I needed to be in going to this new school. So I called the school that Friday. I'm like, hey, I finally got my mom's information, right? We can go ahead and like I'm ready to be able to register like for classes and all the things. And they were like, Michael, classes start on Monday. They were like, you haven't taken your placement test yet, and classes are beginning to get full. I was like, okay. I was like, well, can I take my placement test online right now? She was like, no. At this point, you have to come in person. And if you come in person, there's still no chance that we can even get you in class. And I'm now faced with a really tough decision. Again, these are the moments that shape you guys. These tough moments that we look at in life, these are the growing moments in life. These are the moments that define us. It's all the moments that we never want to be in. These are the moments that actually decide to shape us and develop our character. I call these character developing moments. And in that moment, when she told me that on the phone, I was like, okay, so it sounds like there's still a chance. If I can get there in person and take my placement test, then I can still potentially get in class. She was like, I can't guarantee you that, but like we can try, but you have to be here in person. You guys, I live in New York. I don't have a car. So what do? I decided to buy a Greyhound ticket. I pack my bag. I pack all my suitcases. I pack my bags. I buy this Greyhound ticket. Ida is working at Chipotle at the time. She's actually in a work shift. And I go to her, I use somebody's car and I drive up to her job and she is literally in the middle of working. I say, "Hey, I'm going to school. I love you." And she was like, "What do you mean you're going to school?" I was like, "Yeah, actually, just I just got off the phone with them. They said if I go and take my placement test, then I can potentially get in class." She was like, "There's no guarantee." I was like, "Well, I'm not sure if there's a if it's." She said it wasn't a guarantee, but I know it's definitely a guarantee. A guarantee for me getting in class definitely won't happen if I don't go. So at least I have a shot. In my mind, you guys, the way I live my life, I don't know unless I try. That is how I live my life. The worst thing I'm gonna get at the end of the day is a no. And she was like, "Well, okay, I guess." I love you. Like she's like, when am I gonna see you? I was like, I don't know. I packed my bags. I'm in my mind, I'm going. Right? There is no coming back. I'm not going for a day to figure out and for them to tell me. I have packed my bags. I have committed. I get there, I take my placement test that Saturday. I'm talking to my coach and all those things. That Monday, when classes are starting, they're able to get me in class, right? And I share that story to say, you guys, you're gonna be when you have these moments, right? When you're committing to be gritty, when you're committing to this hard work, where you're putting all this work into these long term goals. Right, life is still going to hand you so many things that you don't want it to hand you. Right, life is still going to hand you pain. It's going to hand you failure. It's going to hand you fear. It's going to hand you loss of so many different things and none of it is actually going to ask for permission at the end of the day. Life doesn't ask for permission on what it decides to actually throw at you, right? All of those things are inevitable. But what you actually get the control to be able to do is how you respond. How you respond and the choice you make is always in your hands at the end of the day, right? You can let pain turn into suffering. You can let fear turn into paralysis. In that moment, I could have been paralyzed. You're like, you know what? She said maybe, not sure. You know what? I'm just not going to go. I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna buy this Greyhound ticket. You know what? It's too late. You know, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till next year. You know what? I'm gonna try to find a school. I'm gonna try to find a school in New York. I'm gonna let this setback hold me down. But again, you guys, you can decide to choose differently in those moments because that's our choice. We don't get to choose what happens to us at the end of the day, but we get to choose what it makes of us. Right? We get to choose who we become on the other side of it. So when you're looking in this business, and I have so much respect for folks in the business, not who just made it to the top of the company. I have so much respect for the folks who made it to the top of the company, but it took them 7, 8 years. For that, it took them 10 years. Why? Because in those that years 2, 3, 4, I have respect for everybody, but I have so much respect for people who it took them 4 years to get the agency owner. It took them 5 years to get the agency owner. Why? Because they decided to stick it out. And the choice that you have to make is sticking it out and being gritty to work towards that long term goal long enough. How worth it is it? Is it more worth it to stick it out to be able to obtain something that you say you want, something that you say will change your life? Or is it just something, another one of those things that you say and you're just okay with going back to where you came from? What are you willing to do right now in this moment? Is what you said so important that you're willing to make the decision to do things now, not procrastinate, not wait till things are last minute, not wait until things are rock bottom hard for you actually be able to capitalize on the opportunity. You just do it right now. Think about that. What if you actually made the choice to be able to dial right now? You committed to a 90-day blitz. You went out there and did things that you never did before, and you did it right now. So 90 days from now, you don't have to worry about, oh man, I'm not gonna have, I'm running out of runway. I don't have any money left to be able to invest in the business. My belief is drained. What happens if you just make the decision right now? What does the version of you look like when you embrace and embody grit? When you embrace and embody doing the hard things long enough to be able to go out there and get what you want at the end of the day. So there's 5 things I want you to. Oh shoot, I'm way over time. Didn't realize that. Um, I'm not a guardian, you guys. It's like my fourth voice. It's a voice that I think I'm better at than I actually am. So I apologize. But I'm gonna give you 5 things. 5 things I want you to write down for you to be able to work on your grit. All right. First thing, number one, I need you to do, write it down. Lock onto your purpose, right? Choose a goal that is so meaningful that it pulls you forward, even on the hard days. Like I said, those hard days are what define you. Those hard days are what develop your character. Even though we don't want those hard days, we don't want those tough weeks, we don't want those tough months. I don't look at them as tough months. I look at them as growing months because, again, all the growth happens right in those moments, in those weeks, in those months. All right, so lock onto your purpose. Second is win the day with small actions, you guys. This is something I'm really big on with my team. We start every single call off with shout outs, wins, and gratitudes. And I always talk to them about, hey, stack your wins, right? Because small wins lead into bigger wins. Bigger win, that all of that will build up and lead into momentum, right? It's important to identify the progress that you made because if you don't identify the progress you made because you set the bar way up here, you're going to feel like you're never making progress. So, how can you stack smaller wins today to build confidence in yourself? So you can actually see progression. We're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for progression at the end of the day, right? You get the opportunity when you're stacking small wins, you get the opportunity to build those daily habits. And again, you get to build momentum. Number 3, turn setbacks into fuel. Again, setbacks are going to happen. It's what the choice that you make after that setback happens is what's going to define you and what your future is going to look like. A setback, you have one or two options. You can face a setback and you can allow it to be able to hinder you. You can allow it to be able to hold you down. When I faced the setback of right, my mom not wanting to be able to sign those paperwork for me to be able to go to school, I could have just like, you know what? Guess I'm not going to school. I guess something I've been working my whole life towards playing basketball. I guess it's just not going to happen this year. I'm gonna wait till next year. And what I didn't even realize, right, when I went to school that year, 3 games into the season, I ended up breaking my arm. Another setback. But what you do with that setback is going to, again, define you. The choice you get to make. All right. Number 4, seek the hard road. You guys, everything you want in life, in this business, wherever you want, right, is on that hard road. Again, if it was easy, everybody would have it. And I'm pretty positive nobody here wants easy at the end of the day. And if you say you want easy, you're probably lying to yourself. You need to reevaluate and look in the mirror. Because the person you are destined to become, the person that the potential that you know you have can't be shaped or formed or embraced or seen by just going through easy. The person you know for you to be able to become has to go through the hard. No way around that. Stepping into the hard and making the choice to do that every day, allow that to become your identity. Allow that who you see yourself becoming because you can do hard things. And when you look at yourself in the mirror and you wake up every day or you go to sleep at night, be like, man, I did the hard thing today. I'm actually proud of myself. I actually did that. And then last but not least, number 5, you guys, reflect, recommit, and get up and do it again. Right? You got to go out there and celebrate the progress. You got to learn from the week that you're in, from the day that you're in. And then yes, you may not have hit your mark, you may not have gotten the result, but you guys, those are all growing opportunities and you get the opportunity from learning from that and reflecting on that. You get stronger going into the next day. You get stronger going into the next week. You learn a little bit more about yourself. You learn a little bit more about the process and you get a lot better. And the last thing I'm just going to end off with you guys, right? Grit is built by small, consistent actions. You gotta be stubborn, right? When you're gritty. You gotta, and you can't be movable, right? On the post, on your goal post or the direction that you're going. Right? You don't need these huge wins. You don't need these heroic bursts at the end of the day. Be like, hey, here I am. It's the small things you show up and decide to do every single day. So with that, Jim, apologize for going way over time, my man. But
No,
that's
you're
what I got
good,
today.
man. This is freaking fire. I was getting a couple text messages even offline from the comments, like this is speaking to me. I'm like, yeah, he's doing his thing. All right, guys, breakout rooms are open. Let's rock and roll. We'll have some fun today.